Gonna go live. Let's see here. Just one moment, you guys. I must tell you that I am greatly appreciative of this community that you and I share. It's very difficult right now in the time that we live. Shabbat shalom. It's very difficult in the times that we live right now for us to have a sense of community. So I'm eternally thankful for this platform that we're able to have. I'm thankful that Yah has allowed us to all come to know each other and to interact with each other. So, this is remarkable. Over the last couple of months, I've been saying that, Yah is not with us, right? And I'm not saying that to hurt our feelings. It's just to put us in our place, to let us know that he's holy, he's kadosh, and he doesn't live in filth. He doesn't reside in this land. He makes his home in Yerushalayim, which is his Mishkan, his temple. And so for us, this is the reminder that you and I are in exile. And a lot of our people don't understand the significance of what being in exile means. Exile means like you're on punishment and you're not going to receive the favor and the blessings that go with the land that Yah promised our fathers. When we say that he's with us, you and I should be able to defeat our enemies. If Yah is with us, then you and I would be able to come together on our moedims and have sacrifices. If Yah was with us, you and I would have baskets that we would bring forth to Yahweh to show him and to lift our hands up to him and tell him thank you for our efforts. If Yah was with us, then we wouldn't be scattered to the four corners of the earth. There's a reason why and a purpose behind the scattering. Multiple reasons, not just one, multiple reasons, okay? Off the top, number one, for you and I to be paid our punishment. Number two, so he can gather us and rescue us. Number three, so the nations would be able to identify and recognize who he is. When I say that we're not his servant, I'm talking about being in capacity to be able to go to the tabernacle and bring him what he asked for. We have the idea in our mind behind being religious that you and I are in service to Yah. So I don't understand. Someone can make sense for me. How is it that you and I could be in exile, but yet in service? That doesn't make sense. How could you and I be cursed, but yet we claim that we're blessed? How is this possible? That our homes are not really functioning the way that they're supposed to. They function well. You got the lights on, you got food there, you got all those things, but we're dependent upon other people, which are enemies. We're in exile. But God loves us. He loves the woman that he married at Mount Sinai. Yah looks at Israel in a whole bunch of ways. He looks at us as his wife. He says that, hey, I was a husband unto them. That's in Jeremiah chapter number 31, but they broke the covenant, the marriage vows. We see that in the book of Hosea. Go marry that whore and have children with this whore. Let her go out there and do her thing. You see? And so Yah's giving us pictures. And in the book of Hosea, he tells us that you are not my people. Lo ami. Lo means no, and ami means my people. Ami. Lo ami. Lo rukama. No mercy, no pity. We have accepted the definitions, the words, the ideas, the concepts, the principles of our enemies. And they got us around here forgetting why we're here. They know. They know if you and I were to call upon the name of Yahweh in sincerity and wholeheartedness, things are going to change. But as long as you and I are running around and acting like everything is hunky-dory and it's okay, then we're deceived. There's no way possible that you and I can minimize Yahweh. We got so comfortable now. These people are here saying that they have his spirit. The spirit of Elohim. They haven't read the Torah. They haven't read the Tanakh. They don't understand when someone had the spirit of Yah, they were able to do amazing things. They were able to take 66 pounds of gold and make a manure with not even adding one piece out of one piece. They had a high level of intellect. He gave some of his spirit that he gave to Moshe, he gave to the elders and took off of Moshe and dispensed it on the leaders. Two of them weren't even in the place. They didn't show up. They were still in the camp and they received it. And they were prophesying about what Yahweh has said. We have a misunderstanding, folks. We have a true misunderstanding, but I want you to be comforted today. No matter what I tell you, no matter what you hear, understand that Yah loves us, period. Okay. And love doesn't mean acceptance of our mess. It means discipline. It means correction. It means to lead us in the right way so our lives can be managed and prepared to meet our Elohim. We're taking this a little too lightly. There's fire that's coming down and ain't nobody talking about it because they're blessed, because they have a house or a car with four wheels or they got a job. Yah is burning every single thing up on this earth because there's judgment that's coming for all the wickedness and evil, and especially what people have done to his chosen people. It's just that simple. I just want to give you the heads up. I'm going to be saying some things today that are not comfortable. They're not, but it's the truth about what we are and who we are. And we have to be able to understand it. What do we got here? Our people are so blessed. They don't even, thank you. Azania said, our people are so blessed that they don't even yearn. They don't have a craving for the land. They don't even want nothing from Yah. They don't even want the promises that he gave to our fathers. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Because it's not in front of their eyes. They got kicked out of the land and they still don't want to go back to the land. They want to stay right here because they're doing well. They don't care about community. They don't care about family. They don't care about marriage. They don't care. They don't care about making contributions to Yah. He said, you will always have to bring a contribution to me because that's just the way it is. I want the first of everything you have. I want the first out of the womb. I want the first out of the land, not the land that you're living in. I don't want the first from Safeway or Rayleigh's. I don't want nothing from these people. I want it from you, and I want it out of righteousness. That's what I'm expecting from you. And I'm preparing you and telling you this is what I always wanted. Yah has been in pursuit of a woman who doesn't even love him. We have been what they would call an adulterous whore. Now, I know that doesn't sound wonderful because it automatically makes you think, well, who's a whore? Oh, that would have to be a woman. Okay, so now all women are whores. No, I want to put you up on something. The soul that Yah has given to both men and a woman called the nefesh ka is feminine. It's feminine. So even if a man has, his gender is a male, he's a zakar, he has a feminine spirit. That means that spirit is going to have to do what? It's going to have to yield to the creator. Yah said that he made both male and female zakar and nekeva in his image. He made them, not the man. So all of us online today, both male and female, are made in his image. And what does that mean? Does he look like a man? Does he look like a woman? No, he gave us the image that would best represent what he wanted to see. Whatever he decided that he wanted it to look like, he made us different. But what did he give us? He gave us his character. That means that you and I can do what he asked us to do. He would not ask us to do something if we didn't have the ability to do so. So there is no excuses. What I'm going to do now is I made a promise to you. I'm going to yield my time to one of our brothers. Okay. You guys, we are a community of people. I'm so excited because on this channel, everyone gets a chance to say something. I don't know if you know this, but a whole bunch of other places, you just be quiet and listen, and they tell you what they want to tell you. That's not going to work here. That's not going to work. We're going to give everybody a voice. And our brother, our Aki, his name is Yared. Some know him formerly as Jared. His name is not Jared. His name is Yared. Okay. And his name means to descend. He's going to descend upon us today with some words from the Torah portion. If you've done your Torah portion this week, this stuff is going to make sense to you. It's going to all come, the pieces are going to come together. But if we fail to read and we make excuses why we can't, and we put Yahweh on the back burner, then of course you still need some growth. That's it. Not here to, I'm not going to beat you up. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to tell you is this. You're here because Yah chose you. He chose you and I to be part of a group of people, okay, that are intelligent. Listen to me. Who like to read, who like to study, who like to figure out things. That's who we are. All of us are special. So I want everyone to listen to what our brother Yhwh is going to bring. I also want you to understand at the end of this lesson today, if you want to speak for about 15 minutes, that's your time called doing a maftir. That means after you finish reading the Torah portion during the week, you want to give a little synopsis of what you've read, and you want to bring out some points that were very important to you. It's not trying to outdo each other. We're here so we can all learn. There's things that Yared's going to bring out today that none of us probably even know. He's been communicating with the Creator. Azanya's been communicating. Gil's been communicating. Pam, all of us. Fanta's been communicating. Anthony's been, all of us. Renee, everybody this week has been dealing with Yah, and he's been dealing with you. And what he wants us as a community to do is to say that all I want is everybody to make a contribution. I'm not asking anybody for any money. There is no money to be here. All we're looking for is that which is free, that Yah has freely given it to us. The words of Elohim should come without any cost or any charge. Period. We don't make profits off of one another. We don't charge each other interest. Whatever it is, it's an apple for an apple, measure for measure. So with that being said, I now yield to our brother Yhwh. Yhwh, did you want to use a screen or anything? Did you want to
yes, I can share my screen.
Okay, you like to share your screen. Okay, so let me I am not that tech savvy, but I am going to see what I could do here to oh, there you are. Hey, he's on there. There's our brother right there. What? Go ahead.
It says it's disabled still.
Oh, it's still disabled. I can see. Okay, so let me see here. More options. Let me pull it up right quick. Participants. Oh, security. That's what it'd probably be. And I'm going to share screen. Let me see. Yeah, you should be able to do it now. Get it? Can you do it?
All right. Yes.
Praise Yah.
Okay. Shalom, everybody.
Hey.
I will be just giving a little bit of what I saw out of the Torah portion for the week. Naso, take a census or lift up, and we're in Bar Midbar. So before I do that, one thing I found interesting when looking at this was a couple of ways I heard it. So here's a couple of ways that I heard the first two verses of the chapter. And we see
Naso et rosh bnei Gershon gam heim leveit avotam lemishpechotam.
So those two verses there, as we all heard the Naso to lift up. So just to give a summary, the description of the service of the Gershon family was outlined in the beginning, because these were very, very long chapters. The laws relating to the suspected adulteress was also given. Laws of the Nazarite are given. The blessing was given to Aaron to give to the children, to do over the children of Israel. The heads of the tribes bring gifts to the tabernacle. One of the reasons why I like that last part, because if you've seen an old African movie, you would see the elders, the heads of tribes bringing gifts, gold. They would bring also cattle and different types of herds. So that kind of resonated with me. A little more food for thought here. We also, see if I can get this out of the way. We also saw the counting of tribes. And we know the tribe of Levi was not counted. The total number of men eligible for war was 603,550. And that stuck out to me. And I will kind of go into why that stuck out to me. We can assume that there were more children of Israel not counted, because only the men were counted. So we're still missing everyone under that war age, as well as the women. So there were probably millions of children there present in the wilderness. Also food for thought that I saw the lifting up begin when the offerings of the tabernacle were presented. This goes back to Shemot 40, where Moshe was breaking down and doing things with the Mishkan of the tent of meeting, the ark of testimony, the burnt offering, the washstand, the courtyard. That was all introduced to him initially. So we see now that the children of Israel are starting to get a little exposure to that. But it to me, it brought a lot of deeper questions which this is my last slide to make everybody think. Why would Yahweh prepare the children of Israel by taking the census of every man of war age? And also, was this the first start of Yahweh test vote? Zavod? If so, what is Yahweh preparing the children of Israel for?
Mm-hmm.
So, as we saw in Shemot, his armies were in the plagues. But as we saw in Bamidbar, now the armies are starting to be the children of Israel. And if you know the ranking of armies, you know there is a supreme general, which is Yahweh. Below him sits Moshe and Aaron. And then below him sits the princes, and then the elders. So we have like the general, I think it's the brigadier general, the major generals, then the lieutenant generals, as well as all of the workers in the army. My theory was this is not for battle per se. This is more so to have the children of Israel be prepared for what the task at hand is to be. We didn't see a whole lot of hand-to-hand combat, but they were prepared for that. But we did see a lot of internal struggles. We saw a lot of struggles with chasing other gods. We saw a lot of struggles with also just keeping that Torah, that instruction. So preparing everyone that was of age, to me, as well as preparing the children of Israel, it kind of signified a lot of preparing these children for what is to come. So the wilderness was like a battleground or a training facility, training area to get these people ready for the land. Because the true battle, as you know, was not going to be with hand, but it was going to be within. So with that, that's just my little quick synopsis of Bar Midbar. I really liked the beginning as well as the end, when we find out that there are a lot more people than we thought that were there. A lot more people. So that I yield back my time to you, Akika. Any questions or from anybody, I'll be happy to answer.
You know, I have to, first of all, I want to give all honor, praise, and appreciation to our creator of the heavens and the earth for our brother, Yahweh. This is a very sombering moment for me. I was sitting here like blown away that that was a beautiful presentation. That was a wonderful contribution. And I'm sorry I'm getting a little emotional, but I can see what Yah is doing for our family. Okay. I can see where Yah is moving us now. I can see how he's bringing us all together. And I want to encourage everybody that just saw this presentation that you have a right to make a contribution before the King of the universe. And Yahweh loves us. And I thank you so much for your contribution, Yahweh. That's an excellent job. I'd like to give you a hand. As our brothers and our sisters, we truly, truly, truly need that. Azania, yes, you have your hand raised.
I just wanted to thank the brother for his, for his being prepared and the knowledge he brought forth, and I just really thank him. And he made me see it a little bit different from his contribution, because like a little bit of this week's Torah portion could get tedious, especially like the last 2 days of the Torah portion, reading it. It was really about a lot of the contributions from their family. And so I just wanted to thank him. All praises to the Most High.
All praises to Yahweh. Thank you so much for that. Wow. Woo. That was great. Those graphics were off the chain. You guys see those tents? Did you see the way that everything was arranged? How they would have Yahweh right there in the center and how they had their families. It's beautiful, Yahweh, beautiful. Thank you for that. To piggyback on that, I want to say that this is one of the longest Torah portions in the Torah. It's one of the longest. I mean, there was like 89 verses in chapter number 7. There's so much. We can't fit everything into, our study today. But what I've done is I've taken a part of it, a portion of it that Yah wants us to work with today. And so without any further delay, I want to go ahead and get right into that. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So hopefully you can see my screen. What I've taken from this, in particular Torah portion is having to do with the way that humankind works with one another and how humankind works with their spouses and how humankind works with Yah. And what I found in this Torah portion was this idea, this possibility of breaking faith. It's called, like Yetta had pointed out, it's a suspected adultery. And there was a method in which Yah says there's a Torah for that, how to deal with it. Our focus primarily is upon a woman. But as I stated to you before, I believe it has more to do with the soul of an individual. And he's chosen the woman as an example because she is what you would call the direct image of what femininity looks like. See, and how they respond and how they do things and how they teach and how they move and how alluring they can be. How the soul, right, is always open and it's available. Okay, so Yah's telling us something in this in particular Torah portion about breaking faith. Naso has to do with lifting up, but it also talks about carrying and carrying what? A burden, right? So burdens are things that people carry. In this case, we're going to find some of that in this particular Torah portion. What it says is this. It says, Yahweh said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel, if a man and wife goes astray and is unfaithful to him, that is, that she goes to bed without her husband's knowledge, okay? If another man goes to bed with her without her husband's knowledge, so that she becomes impure secretly, and there is no witness against her, there's absolutely no one who's going to come against her, there's nobody who was able to see her, and she was not caught. That means that nobody was able to put their hands on her and seize her from what they saw as a witness, because in Hebrew, you cannot make an accusation against somebody unless there's more than how many witnesses?
Two.
Two or more. You need 2 or more witnesses. Okay. So there's nobody who saw anything. Okay. So as it stands, the woman is, what's going on? This is going crazy. Hold on, you guys. I don't know if it's the internet. What's going on? It's 2 or more. Well, there's something about this relationship that Yah wants to bring out to us, okay? The comparison here is that Yah says, of all the families on earth, only you have I intimately known. That means that Yah says that you're the only people on all the earth that's ever been with me like a husband is with a wife. That word intimately known means to yada. That means to draw near to me and for us to come close. Okay, just like a husband and a wife. This is why I will punish you for all your crimes. And the question he asked was, do two people travel together without having so agreed? And you can find that in Amos. And that's the question he's asking us. Do two people travel? Do two people get together without having make some type of agreement, whether it is in marriage or whether it's in business, whether it is in employment? These are the areas in our lives that we can't really walk with people unless you're in some type of agreement with them, which makes us start thinking about who are we hanging out with and who are we walking with. Okay, so what's going on with this? So what we're talking about here is what they would call being faithless. They use that term adultery, right? But it says that it hasn't come to her husband's attention, right? And she's been unfaithful, meaning she's been faithless. There's two words that are used for this idea of being faithless, okay? And there's other things along with that we're going to read to find out what was really going on. So we're going to chop this down to find out why is Yah telling us all this, okay? So we got two words. We got ma'al and we got bagad. That has to do with being faithless. Ma'al is this idea, what they would use in English is transgress, okay, doing a transgression. So in our Christian days, we really didn't know what Christian transgressions were. We thought it was simply just, doing what they would say a body of sins. But here, to be a ma'al means to commit something that's unintentional or something that is intentional, okay? It's a treacherous act that someone's going to do that's going to result in some type of error. So that's what transgression is. Transgression and sin are two different ideas, okay? Sin is that which is what? Missing the mark. So there's a target, you attempted to hit it and you failed. That's what sin is, okay? You see, for us, sin has to do with the body. It has to do with, body fluids. It has to do with just the fact that you're a human being, right? So there's always going to be some sin on us, right? So that's part of our life. But the transgression is something that can be done intentionally or unintentionally. If it's done unintentionally, it's still a transgression and it still needs to be meted out with justice. And it still has, according to Yah, it still has to be meted out with justice, okay? The act of treachery. The act of treachery is someone who's guilty or involving betrayal or deception. You're guilty of or you're involved in some type of betrayal. So Yah's bringing this to our attention because Yahweh had told us that his people have what? We have betrayed Yahweh. And it wasn't unintentional. It was intentional, okay? You don't accidentally go and commit adultery. You don't accidentally do that. You don't accidentally, lie about something. That's intentional, right? So the idea is being treacherous. In breaking our faith with Yah, Yah had brought to our attention in the book of Malachi, dealing with this word, bagad. It says, don't we all have the same Father? Didn't one Elohim create us all? Then why do we break faith? Why are we breaking faith with Yah? Why are we breaking faith with each other? Profaning the covenant of our ancestors. What I want us to understand about being Israel is the fact that whether or not you and I want to agree with this or not, when he says that you're breaking the covenant of our ancestors, part of our covenant is to be faithful. It's not just women who are being unfaithful, men are being unfaithful. Yhwh has broken faith. Yhwh has been bagad and has done an abomination which has been committed in Israel and Yerushalayim. And what was that? Yhwh has profaned the sanctuary of Yahweh, which he loves, by marrying the daughter of a foreign god. Part of our covenant is that you and I are not supposed to be marrying people who have another god. He told us, don't you marry nobody who had another God. Now, this is going to be tough. This is going to be down to the nitty gritty, because now Yah's telling us, you got to make up your mind and decide, okay, for those of us who are in the market, that you have to find somebody that follows Yahweh, is somebody who only calls upon his name. And that's going to be kind of difficult because there ain't a lot of people that know Yahweh's name. But does that mean that you go marry a woman who has another God in her mouth, like JC the Christ, or the God of the New Testament? That's another God, you see? So faithfulness to Yahweh has more to do with not just in our own marriages and with our wives, but it also has to do with us as a people and even our men, okay? Because the men are the ones who are giving their daughters to these men, and the daughters to the sons of those people, and giving the sons to their, and taking their daughters to their sons. So that's how we have to look at this, okay? What I found to be interesting about this in particular word, but God, was this. When he says that Yhwh was being unfaithful, and more in context, it was talking about how he married a daughter of a foreign god, but he already had a wife. He got rid of a wife to go with another woman with another god. See that? And if you read that in particular chapter, you'll find that out. But what Yah is talking about is the behavior of a person is very treacherous. Okay. Very treacherous. This word bagad, not like ma'al. Ma'al is treacherous as well, but it's intentional or unintentional. This one here is a little bit different. This one here, bagad, has to do with clothing. And I asked myself, well, what does clothing got to do with it? It has the idea of someone, like, for example, if a person who's treacherous is a person who saw someone get killed, they were innocent, right? The innocent got killed. The person that died, they had some clothes on, okay? A treacherous person will go and take the clothing off of the dead person and put it on and act as if they've already had it. They would take the clothing off of a dead person, okay, and wrap themselves in it as if that's always been their cloak or their clothing. That's a different type of treachery. That's a different type of action. So, and it's also something that has to do with the action of covering something up, to be covert. So when he's talking to the children of Israel, and he's talking to the sons of Israel, primarily in the book of Malachi, what he's saying is that you guys are working very deceitfully. You guys are covering up things. You're pretending, you're wrapping yourselves in things as if you didn't do anything. You're hiding things. That's what you're doing. And Yah is letting us know that that type of behavior is called being faithless. Okay. And how does this work with relationships? Well, it's a matter of us not disclosing information. You know, deceit not only has to do with the idea of lying to someone. A lie can actually be something that's not even said, information that's missing out of the equation. You tell part of the story, you know, like the person who put the clothing on of the other person, they didn't tell them they took that off of a dead person, but that's the type of mindset that they have. Okay. When we're doing stuff behind each other's back, that's covert. That's deceit. When you're not telling the whole story, that's deceitful, like the New Testament. They don't tell the whole story. They only take bits and pieces out of our story and put it over there, and they tell you a little bit of it. Taking something out of context is being faithless, and that's being treacherous. See? And it causes us to err in our ways and our actions. And so Yah says that these types of behaviors are not conducive for the community. It also has this idea of being duplicitous, meaning that someone is intentionally misleading others. That's what they do, okay? So they say different things to different people at different times, and they act different in front of somebody else. So they act one way in front of you, and then when they get around someone else, then they act completely different. They say, listen, this is faithless. They say things that they don't normally say. Duplicitous. Yah's talking about that's faithlessness. That's what's called being faithless and being treacherous. Okay. The flip side of this is being faithful. So you got a choice. You can either be faithful or you could be faithless. So the idea behind faithfulness has to do with this word called emunah. Okay. Emunah. And emunah is this idea that has to do with that which is firm. Something, a kind. And it doesn't mean being kind like I'm being nice. That's not the kind we're talking about. Okay. The kind that we're talking about is a species. Okay. That has to do with these two letters right here, the mem and the noon. Okay. The mem is water and the noon is the seed. Okay. And in Hebrew, it is, it would be the mem and the noon, right? In English, you would say min, all right? But it means the water up here has to do with liquid, which could be blood or any other liquid. And then you have the seed, okay? So the blood, right? And then the seed here represents continuance. So the idea is the blood continues. Blood is passed from one species to the next in order for that species to maintain its identity. Okay. So that's how we spread our seed, right? Through our bodies. Okay. So the blood type continues for the species through the idea, listen to me, and for human beings, it's called sexual. When it talks about in our Torah portion that this woman, that a man laid down with her, in the Hebrew writing, it talks about that she laid down and the man put zerah. He put seed in her. That's what she did. She secretly gave herself over for whatever reason, okay, being either weak or she's being accused of this. But remember, it's either being accused, innocent, or guilty. There's only two ways to look at this. But he says that the husband would have a spirit and would come over him. And we're going to get into that in a second, that he would all of a sudden go into a rage. He would he'd just be mad for no reason because he believed that somebody put some seed in his wife, right? Because the woman is the tent, right? And the way that the families are built is by somebody putting a seed in the house. And then the woman protects the seed and the seed grows and so forth and so on. Okay. So this in particular Torah portion here, this part right here is dealing with seed, is dealing with being faithful, right? Is dealing with being unfaithful, is talking about treachery, is talking about being secretive and disguising things. Okay. This word emunah means to give one given support, because if it's firm, my internet is slow, I'm sorry. When it's firm, it's sure. It's like a pillar, okay? A whole bunch of different concepts around this idea. Well, one given support through food to stand firm as a support. So the key here is to support. You know how people say that they have faith? I have faith in God, right? And they just say, well, what is that? I believe, right? So you say you believe. Well, what are you saying? That's not based on anything. That's just an idea, okay? Yah is telling us that for us to say that we believe anything that he says or that we support what he says. And if we support what he says, then you and I will stand firm in it. Okay. So if you're going to be faithful, then you have to be firm to anything. You're going to stand when everybody else is falling. You're going to stand for that which is right. You're going to be like a pillar. Okay. And so that kind of touches base with the idea of who the leaders were picked, because they had to be strong enough. They had to be firm enough. They had to be someone who was what? Given support. See? So that's our goal. Our goal as a community is to find support. Okay. But we have to be faithful in order to do that. Okay. So to support means bear all part of weight of or hold up. Now, our Torah portion this week dealt with naso. And naso has the idea of what? Naso, as Yahweh brought out, was to lift up. Come on, internet. Okay, to lift up, to bear. That's what we're talking about, to bear and to hold up, to support it. So in order to be naso, to be able to carry something, to bear something, one has to be entrusted with it, and they have to be firm, and they have to be sure, and they have to be a certain type of species, a certain type of people, a certain type of bloodline. They like to say that Israel is spiritual. There's a spiritual Israel. And that's why a lot of these other nations have decided to try to hijack our heritage. But I got some bad news for them. Israel is not spiritual. Israel is physical, and it has to do with emunah. It's a certain type of species. Excuse me. Sorry for that. It's a certain type of species. It's a certain type of men. You understand? It's a certain one that's going to be sure. Okay. It's a seed, but they have to be able to bear. So supporting is the idea of bearing all the weight of and hold up. When you're married or you're a parent, you and I are going to have to be faithful. If we're going to be part of Yahweh's community, if this is part of the character that he's looking for, you and I are going to have to be the ones who are going to bear responsibility. If you look at what the Torah portion it talked about all the wagons and all the gifts. And it talked about how he said, take a census. That means lift up and carry these people. That's what a Nasi is. A Nasi is a leader who's supposed to bear the responsibility and carry the burden of the people. But you got to be faithful. What is going on? I'm sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what's going on. This just flipped on me. Okay, I'm good. Yahweh said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel, if a man's wife goes astray, we've already read that. This next idea is called secret. So we had faithful, and now we got secret. Okay, we had faithless, and now we have a secret. In the Torah portion, I found two different ways that it says that this woman is going to be able to hide something. Okay, this is something that Yah wants to bring to our attention. The first way was the ma'al, meaning like she's going to be treacherous. Okay. And she's going to do something in a certain way. And that literally had to do with her behavior, her doing it. Right now, there's a way of doing something secretly that has to do with what we would call time. Okay. Time. And that's going to deal with this time. Okay. Because it said it's not going to come to his knowledge. He's not going to know about it. Okay. So there's two things that has to happen. Number one, time has to pass. Okay. So he doesn't have no knowledge of it. So time has already gone by. So it's out of his mind. He doesn't know nothing about it. Okay. So time, something that you don't know, can either be in the past or it can be in the future. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. You got the past, you got the present, and you got the future. Okay. It says that this woman had committed, if she did, she committed in the past. Okay. Presently, he doesn't know it. He has to find out. And something that's in the future, you don't know. You don't know that. You understand? You don't know what's going to happen in the future. And if something's happened in the past that you have no idea about, you don't know that either. And if that's the case, it's called a secret. You understand? And so the question is how do we find out? what's going on in the present. Well, Yah is bringing this to the attention of the man because he wants to find out what the secret is, if it did happen, if it didn't happen. This is a safeguard that Yah has put inside the camp of Israel to ensure, okay, for few purposes. Number one, to protect the family, or secondly, to increase the family. Okay, so we're going to look at these words for secret. The first one we're looking at is called Olam. Olam. Olam means to hide. Okay. Now, this is something that she's not doing. Okay. The woman hasn't done this. This is just part of life, what happens. Okay. And it means ancient. The action of this is to hide something, because Olam means beyond the field of vision. That means that you don't have no inclination about what happened or what's going to happen. Okay, so there's no field of vision of time or space. You don't have no clue. Okay, very simple. It also has this idea to conceal. It's something that's hidden or obscured from sight and is covered and is unknown. She didn't do this. This is just what time does. Okay, time hides things from us. Like, we don't know when Yah's coming. We don't know really what the situation is. We don't know certain things because it's been hidden from us, because it's in our past and we had no knowledge of it. Okay. The word Olam, I know you've heard this before. It's a term for meaning ancient. So when it talks about Yahweh, our Eloheinu Melech Ha-Olam, that means that you are the Elohim from all time. You're in a place of distant time in the past or the present. Or excuse me, in the future, as the time hidden from the present, meaning Yah is hidden from us. Okay, so there's a time. There's a distant time in the past or the future as a time hidden from the present. No one knows. Okay, so before you and I got here, there was always Olam. Olam, it means ancient. And Yah attaches this to his name, meaning that before there was a past or a future, this thing has been hidden from the present. Yah has not revealed himself. How many years has it been since the last time Yah has showed up on the earth? It's been a long time. And the last time we heard about it was in the past. And we keep talking about our future, right? But right now it's hidden from us. This is one of the reasons why Yahweh puts this on his name. And sometimes it's interpreted as forever. Ha-Olam, it means forever. Well, what do you mean forever? It's a distant time in the past or future, but it's hidden. No one knows. No one knows what it is. Okay, so that's what forever is. It's unknown. It's hidden. So what's the difference between Olam and Safar? Well, according to the Hebrew, it's still a secret. It's still hiding. But now it's about the person being able to do that themselves. It's something that someone's actively involved in. It's a covert or a secret hiding or a hiding place. That means not only did she believe, according to this, our Hebrew, our Torah portion, not only did this woman believe, if she was guilty, that she can hide this, right? Through time, because he doesn't know about it. She figures time will cover it as well, but there's also something that she's done as well. She's done a covert operation, okay? And let me be clear, when we talk about this woman, I'm not talking about all women, because Yah didn't say all women. You understand? He says this in particular woman, and he's making reference for us, for the people of Israel, because we're his wife. That's why he's telling us this. Because he's letting us know there's two ways, there's three ways that one can hide themselves. They can hide themselves through time, figuring that Yah had forgot about it. He doesn't know about it because it was in the past and there's nothing that anyone could do about it. And there's other things that you and I can directly be involved in to be covert or to hide things or to be secretive. Okay. Yah has told me in my learning, in my understanding, that these type of people right here are the ones that Yah wants us to watch out for. Okay. He wants us to watch out for these individuals, including ourselves. The behaviors that people do to hide what's really going on, that's a person who's working in Safar. They're being clandestine, okay? They're not telling you what it is. They're putting things in place to make sure that you'll never find out. So they're actively participating in it. This next word right here is called kava, okay? It has the idea of a place one will hide in secret or lurking. This was the word that was used in the garden. See? So this is a hiding place, a place. So one's a place, one is an activity of a person. Safar is something that you can do. Okay. Olam is something that is going to be what it is. Okay. Having to do with time. The other one, Safar, has to do with you, an individual and your actions. And the last one, kava, has to do with a place that you would pick in order to go hide, like Adam did. Okay, to take some type of refuge because you are, concerned about something happening, some distress. So you get afraid. So you hide yourself. Okay. Also, kava has to do with this idea of the wall of the house. The first letter of this word here is the ket, which has to do with the wall. And this next one right here is the house. Okay, which we would call the tent. Okay. So the wall of the house, the walls of the house enclose the family, okay, a place of refuge from trouble and distress. Understand something, that our homes is the place where you and I are supposed to be able to go for a place of refuge from our trouble and our distress. I mention this because there's a lot of stuff that's going on outside the home that causes us a lot of trouble and distress. And the only place that you and I can really find some type of peace and some shalom is by being in our homes. Now, if in your home, if you have trouble and you have distress, it's a bad deal because you have no other place for refuge. Okay. So in connection with our Torah portion, Yah had told them to lift up standards, right? And every time they would get in trouble or if something would happen, they can run to their standard, to their flag and to their banner and go and find refuge and safety in their family. So this is what it's all about. So I'm going to show you what Yah is telling us about this in particular woman and why it's so important for her not to be able to do this act of what you would call being faithless, okay, being ma'al, and not being a person who does the sathar, okay? So here it is. The walls of the house enclose the family. So this whole idea about faithfulness and hiding and secrets and refuge is about the family. That's what this is about. Yah's going to show us that through the judgment that he's going to bring upon this woman, if she's guilty, what does it mean? What does the water mean? What did the, some of the other things that he told her, that it was going to be the judgment. What does that mean? When this situation happened, when the man would get this idea in his head, he starts going crazy. Okay. I call it the wind of jealousy because that's exactly what it is. The wind of jealousy is if a spirit of jealousy comes over him and he is jealous of his wife and she has become impure, meaning that she's been with another man, some other man has been with her and laid seed on her. Or for that matter, if the spirit of jealousy comes over him and he is jealous of his wife and she has not become impure. So this text right here is letting us know that a man, listen carefully, a man will either be jealous over his wife for two reasons. Either she's been unfaithful to him, okay? Or he just feels that way. That's what he feels. He's jealous. He's jealous of her time. He's jealous of not just, this doesn't have anything to do with just sexuality, folks. This has to do with what the man feels because Yah has given this spirit to a man. because that spirit is identical to the spirit that he has. He gave him this spirit to make him feel this way. Jealousy that a man can have for his wife can be very beneficial. And we're going to see that it can be beneficial. Jealousy can be beneficial. I know a lot of women don't like a jealous man, but a man is built to be jealous. If he's not jealous, you should be concerned. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of my wife. I am. I tell you straight up, I don't want any man touching my wife. I don't want any man looking at my wife. I don't want any man lusting after my wife. I don't want any man to give my wife a compliment. You see, because Yahweh says a man should not covet another man's wife. Coveting means that you sit and you take some type of desire in her. I don't want anybody to desire my wife, period. Okay. Neither do I want my wife to desire anyone else. You see, I'm jealous for my wife. I'm jealous of her time. If she doesn't spend time with me, I get angry. I don't know about you. I do. That's what it is, because Yah has given that to me, right? And it can be used in a positive way. Okay. And I'm going to show you those positive ways. I call it the wind of jealousy because that's exactly what it is. It's called the Ruach of Quinah. The Ruach is not just some Holy Spirit. The Ruach is literally the wind. Okay. The air that you and I breathe, it's a breath. Okay. It's the character, because that's what breath is. It's the character of you. It's who you are. And it's supposed to do something. It's supposed to refresh you. Okay. So the Hebrews, they were very familiar with the wind patterns. This is a cultural perspective to give you an idea of what the Ruach means. Okay. What the so-called, what they have identified as the spirit, the wind. There is a spirit. It's called a Ruach. Okay. So the wind of Yah, okay, or the wind patterns that the Hebrews knew about, it would tell them where they would go. Okay. They would follow prescribed paths, right? And it would let them know, well, okay, the wind is coming from this direction, so we know that this season's coming. Okay, I just felt the wind coming from the east. This means this. Oh, it came from the south. It means this. So they were very familiar with what the wind, the Ruach, meant. Okay, they weren't into what you and I are into, called the Spirit of God, and I got the Holy Spirit. They weren't into that. The Ruach had direct connect to the environment. Okay, and it's also known as the breath of man, which gives us our prescribed path of breathing in and out. So this idea of the Ruach is one of a path. It's one of a prescribed path. It means that it's going to go this way, and this is the way that it's determined to go. Okay, so that's what the Ruach is. The Ruach comes from the root word rock. Okay, and rock means the man outside. That's what it means, the man outside. Culturally, the resh right here in Hebrew, R-E-S-H, is the resh, okay? And that's the letter in English called R, okay? Then we have our next letter, which is the ket, C-H-E-T, and it represents the what? It represents the wall, okay? What is the wall for? The wall divides the inside from the outside. So this means the man outside is responsible, okay? He's responsible for feeding, watering, and caring for his livestock. Why? Because they're healthier and more productive if one is on a routine and a prescribed path. So what should we learn from the Ruach? We should understand that our spirit, our wind, our breath of us, we should have a prescribed way that we live our life in the path that you and I are very familiar with. If you and I create a routine for our lives, you're going to have better results. Of course, you and I don't have livestock right now, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a routine. If you have a routine, when something comes up and there's an error, you'll be able to recognize it fast, because you'll be like, I know where I've been on the same path right here. So when this came from this direction, I'm familiar with it. I know what it is. Just like they were familiar with it. You and I can have a routine, and if anything goes outside of that routine, you would know that something's wrong or something's coming. Okay, so being organized and having a routine and being on a prescribed path is the direction that you and I should go. And this is what the Torah portion does. The Torah portion puts you on a prescribed path. It's prescribed, it's outlined for you. Okay, and you will know when you go through these different cycles where you're going to go. And then when something happens, you'll be like, oh, I know what that is. Oh, I know what that is. And you become more familiar with it. So the Ruach is based in this idea of traveling on a path. Okay. A person who has a routine is a person who's on a path. So you could develop those routines for yourself. Like if you like to eat breakfast at a certain time, work out at a certain time, read your Torah portion at a certain time, pray at a certain time, all those different types of things. When you have that, you'll have a more productive day. You have a more productive life, and you'll have healthier results, And of course, you have to make sure that your food is right so you can have the best health possible in that area as well. So that's what the Ruach is about. So this man would get this wind. Okay, listen to me. It's gonna blow your mind when you're gonna find it out. So this wind of the Ruach, and the Ruach is the wind of jealousy, Quana. Okay, Quana. Okay. So what does Quana mean? Quana is one who's zealous, one who is protective over someone or something. You can't knock a man for being zealous over his wife. You can't. You cannot be knocking a man for being zealous over his family. You cannot knock a man for being zealous and protective over someone that belongs to him and some things that belong to him. He has a right to his possessions because those are his and Yah gave it to him. This is why Yah doesn't want us to transgress someone and to deal treacherously with them. You understand? Because it has to do with a person's rights. The women have rights too, and we're going to bring that out as well, so women don't feel like, well, it seems like the Bible is putting us down. No, the Torah is not putting you down. The Torah is going to highlight you. Okay, it's going to elevate you. It's going to lift you up. It's going to naso. It's going to bring you to the next level. But you have to open up your mind to understand it. Okay, meaning if you get on the prescribed path that you're supposed to be on, then you're going to elevate. Your husband will elevate you, and you'll help elevate him as well. But the spirit, the Ruach Aquana, is what Yah lets, and he says not only to come upon him, but to go over him. Okay, it's something that Yahweh will send. Okay, why? Because Yah's interested in protecting something, and he's going to show us what it is. Okay, Quana comes from the idea of the word Quan. Okay, Quan. Okay, and the Kof right here, Hebrew, Quof, it means to gather. Okay, and then we got our Nun, N-U-N, and the Nun is what? The seed. So it's the gathering for seeds. Okay, and this also has to do with this idea of a bird, right? Some type of bird of prey. So what the bird of prey would do, they would go and acquire. Okay, they would acquire and go gather materials to build a nest. Okay, and where they can raise their seeds. Okay, and they were zealous over their eggs. They would flutter their wings. Okay, and anybody or any other bird or anybody to come, and they would attack it. Okay, and they would ruffle their feathers like an eagle and get mad as you all get out, and they will fight to the death to protect the seed. So this idea of this spirit of Qanah is from the idea of Yah saying that I put it in a man where he has to put this instinct in him to protect his family, to protect his seed. Okay. So when another man comes and he lays seed in another man's wife, you just disturb that man's house. You understand? When another man is placing seed, okay, inside of your land, your wife, then now your land has become contaminated. But not only has it become contaminated and impure and unclean, now it has the idea of destroying the nest, the family. This is the reason why Yah has given a man a spirit of jealousy. He has to protect his wife. He has to protect his house, and he has to protect his seed. When somebody else, this is why reason why the lions kill the other lions when they come into those prides, because they don't care about those other seeds. They want to have their own seed. They got to protect. That's what Yah has instinctively put that in the male. Okay. And sometimes it could be, I'm not going to vouch for these maniacs out here, but it could be bad. Okay. There are some men who are off the chain who are way too gone. Okay. So gathering for the seed. This is the reason why Yah has put that inside of a man. You got to protect it. The seed, his family. I told you that Yah has given this to a man, and it's because this is who Yahweh is. Okay. This is one of the characteristics and traits that Yah has given to a man specifically, the Zakar. He's given it to this man, right? More so than the woman. Okay. He says, you are not to bow down to them or serve them, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a jealous El. I'm a Kwana. Okay. I'm punishing the sins of the parents to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me. That is found in our covenant that Yah had talked about. In the covenant is mentioned that Yahweh is jealous. Yahweh is jealous, and it has to do with the covenant. And the covenant is what you would call our marriage contract. That's the marriage contract, where they said that we're going to do what you say, and whatever you ask us to do, we'll do it. They made a vow. Our Torah portion deals with vows. If you read chapter number 6, you would find that out. If you read chapter number 13 of the book of Judges, you would find that out. I didn't have time to go over vows because this is so huge, you can only take a little piece at a time. Maybe our next cycle of the Torah portion will go over vows, okay, what it really means. So Yah's jealous. He's Kwanah, okay? He's very protective of his family. And then he also says here in Devarim chapter 4, verse 24, he says, watch out for yourselves so that you won't forget the covenant. I don't want you to forget the covenant of Yahweh, your Elohim, which he made with you, and make yourselves a carved image, a representation of anything forbidden to you by Yahweh, your Elohim. For Yahweh, your Elohim is a consuming fire, and he's a jealous El. So what we have here is a direct connect between jealousy and fire. Fire is this idea of rage, like a raging fire. Okay. I'm going to put all the pieces together here for you very shortly. We want to find out who Yahweh is. So Yahweh is letting us know that I am jealous too. And I'm jealous over my marriage contract. I'm jealous over my wife. My wife has been out with a whole bunch of different men. That's what Yah is saying. And he's saying, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Okay. Devarim 32:21 says this: they arouse my Kwana with a non-God. So you can always see that there's always somebody else involved. This is what happens when we violate the covenant, either with Yahweh or our marriage or our business relationships. It always has to do with someone else. This is what it's always going to be. So God's telling us, I need you to be about Akkad. I need you to be about oneness. Okay. Crimes happen when there's more than one person involved. Adultery doesn't happen with just one person. It happens with two. You understand? And he says, they provoke me with their vanities. I will arouse their jealousy. So Israel, as well as a people, has Kwanah. I don't know about you, but I'm really jealous for Yah. There's a group of people out here that claim that my Elohim, the one who took me as his wife, listen, and says that I'm going to prepare and take care of you and give you a land and give you a name and give you an inheritance and give you all the things I promised you, are going around saying that he's their Elohim now. So Yah has provoked us now. He has aroused our jealousy with a non-people and provoked them with a vile nation. I'll give you a clue what a vile nation is. A vile nation is somebody that would circumcise a child and suck the blood off their penis. You know who does that. You know who does that, don't you? Go look it up online. That's what they do. I'll tell you what a vile nation is. If you look in their Talmud or you look in their writings, you would find out that it's okay for them to have a child, have sex with a child. I think I brought that out before. Yeah, they have sex with children and they don't think nothing about it. A little girl, 5 years old, a grown man can have sex with her, and they just said it's just a poke in the eye. Go look at what they said in the Sanhedrin. He also said it's okay for a woman to have sexual relations with an animal. Go read it. I could bring that up. I'll show it to you. That's a violation. You see? Because my anger has been fired up. Yah is angry right now. It's been fired up and it burns to the depths of Sheol. Sheol is the place of which you would call the underworld, the grave. When Yah says that his fire, he's been fired up and he's angry and it burns, he says, I'm so angry that my fire is going to go all the way down into the grave. I'm going to devour the earth and its crops and kindling the very roots and its hills. The very roots of the hills. That's how mad Yah is. This in particular scripture here in the Torah should not be taken lightly. Yah is saying, matter of fact, just to let you know, Yah says that this in particular chapter right here, Davarim chapter number 32, is a song. The Yah says, I need you to remember because I'm going to do this. This will be a song as a witness against the children of Israel. It's against us. Okay. He says, have them memorize this song. In this song, he tells us that I'm so angry that my fire is going to burn all the way down past the grave, and I'm going to devour the earth and its crops, kindling the very roots of the hills. The roots of the hills, yeah, I'm going all the way down. My fire is going to come down all the way through the ground and go all the way down to the bottom of Sheol. I'm burning everybody up and I'm burning everything up. There won't be nothing that's going to survive unless you're the children of Israel. That's his promise to us. But he's mad. He's fired up right now because of the jealousy. Okay. So the same jealousy that a man has over his wife, could you imagine the jealousy that Yah has for his wife? Okay. Here's the evidence for us to look at. In the book of Yhwh, meaning salvation, chapter 66, verse 15, look, Yahweh will come in fire, and his chariots will be like the whirlwind to render his anger furiously, his rebuke with blazing fire, for Yahweh will judge all humanity with fire. That's what's coming. And the sword and those slain by Yahweh will be many. So the judgment for humanity is going to receive the flames. Go ahead, Azanya.
I just wanted to say, Achika, that, you know, he also says that in Jeremiah 17:4, that fire, that anger which we've kindled in him will burn forever, which is kind of daunting. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's never going to forget it, you know?
He's not. He's not going to relent. He's not. Listen, you guys, this is important. Thank you for that. He's not gonna let it go. The man that even suspects his wife of doing anything, he's not gonna let it go. What we find, and I'm gonna give a summation here in just a moment, Yah's not gonna let it go. He's not. Okay. Just like he's telling this man that if you suspect your wife of this, I want you to bring her to the Kohen. And bringing someone to the Kohen means bringing someone before Yahweh. Okay. Again, there are no Kohens for us. That's why a lot of the stuff that's going on right now is because we don't have this in place. There's a lot. This is going on right now in people's families. Okay. So he's supposed to bring his wife to the Kohen along with the offerings for her. Okay. So he don't supposed to come empty-handed to Yahweh. He's supposed to bring some offerings. And listen what he says to bring. And I tripped off of this when I read it. He said he's supposed to bring some barley. That's what he's supposed to bring. I want you to bring some barley flour in which he has not poured any olive oil or put frankincense, because it is a grain offering. It's a mincha for jealousy. So there's an offering for jealousy, right? A grain offering for remembering, zikaron. I want to remember and recalling guilt. Okay. This is not recalling sin. This is recalling guilt. Asham, okay? Something that has been done that you can actually put your fingers on, okay? So this is the case where you don't have any witnesses. If someone thinks they're going to get away with something, Yah's telling everybody that you're not going to get away with it. I have methods in place for Israel because Israel is a very secretive people. Israel is a people who do a lot of sathar. They do a lot of concealing. They hide who they really are and how they feel. They're duplicitous. They say one thing out of their mouth and they'll do something totally different. They'll tell me that they love me, but yet and still they don't keep my commandments. You see? I asked Yahweh, why is it the barley? Why the barley? And what I found about the barley is going to be mind-blowing, okay? So here's what he found, or what he showed me. This word barley is called Sa'ora, okay? And Sa'ora, it has two different forms. It has a feminine form and it has a masculine form, okay? Barley in its plant form is feminine because it comes in a plant form. Then it has the masculine form that comes in its grain. It's very hard in its roughness, okay? So it's both masculine and feminine, right? So check this out. So barley has this idea of that. I looked at the root of this word called sa'ar. Sa'ar means a storm. It means something horrible. The strong wind of torrents of a storm or a person's rage that causes one to fear. Check this out. Yah's using barley, okay, listen, for the idea of its grain, because when you're supposed to bring it into grain, and it's its roughness. You're not supposed to bring it in its plant form. You're supposed to bring it in its roughness, representing the masculinity, because a man is rough. A man is rough, okay? It's just what he is. But when you think about what we read about the Ruach, remember we read about the Ruach? And what's the Ruach? Somebody tell me if you can remember.
It was a wind.
It's a wind.
Mm-hmm.
So Yah's saying this wind is going to come over you. What kind of wind? A wind of a storm. The man would feel like he just went into a storm. A horrible storm will come over this man. The wind will start, turbulence will start building up in him. And all of a sudden he's hella mad, excuse me. He's in a rage. And he's fearful, like, did she? See? And he can't control himself because there's a storm that's been brewing up in him. That's why Yah telling them to bring a barley minka, because Yah's going to do one or two things. Yah is going to calm this storm. That's what he's going to do. That's why he's asking for the barley. See, so what we learn is that the Hebrew language, as I've been telling everybody, if you study the language, you will find these little gifts that Yah has for us. Who would have ever known that barley had to do with the idea of a storm, winds? Then you connect it to the Ruach, the wind of kunah, of rage and anger and jealousy. So he has these feelings of fear and rage, like you were in a storm, like a storm's coming, you're scared, but also you're just, whoo, you know what I mean? So this is something that a man can feel, right? And so Yah's letting us know. What else is he letting us know? Well, you read in the scriptures, you will find often the term where Yah says, let the storm of Yahweh fall on the head of the wicked. I know you read that. Let the storm of Yahweh and the wind and torrents of Yahweh fall on the head of the wicked. And it's going to be a terrible, horrible thing. So he wants that to be brought. Okay, so listen. So put the pieces together. You got the wind of Qanah, jealousy, the wind. Then all of a sudden, the storm. This man is feeling. That's why I got to calm him. So bring the barley, because Yah's using the earth to talk to us. He says, but if you have in fact gone astray, this is what the priest is telling this woman. Okay. And there's some different procedures in there that told about how she's supposed to unravel her hair. Okay. She's supposed to untie her hair and let her hair loose. right? The reason why, and I'm going to put the slide up here because I had too many slides already. The reason why he tells her to undo her hair is simply because he's making her bare herself. When a woman's hair is down, it's representation of her exposing herself and becoming naked when her hair is down. She's opening herself up. So the priest is saying, you before Yahweh now, undo your hair. Then he told her of all the curses that would happen to her. Okay. So listen what it says. But if you have in fact gone astray, he's talking to this woman while under your husband's authority and become unclean, meaning impure, because some man other than your husband has gone to bed with you. There talked about the putting that seed in you. Then the Kohen is to make the woman swear an oath that includes a curse. So she has to swear this out of her mouth. The Kohen would say to the woman, may Yahweh make you an object of cursing and condemnation among your people by making your private parts shrivel and your abdomen swell up. Why? I'm going to explain to you why. Okay. We're not going to get into the private part shriveled up. We're going to get into the part about your abdomen swelling up. Okay. There's a reason why Yah is going to make this abdomen swell up, because he wants this person to be a sign. That's what it's not. This word object of cursing, it's not an object. It's a sign. So once everyone sees this woman in the community, they're going to know. Okay. So Yah doesn't automatically kill the adulteress. Okay. But he will put the adulteress in because they don't have no witnesses. So Yah's not breaking the Torah. You can kill her. I found out that she got seed from another man. So let's just put her to death right here. Yah says, I'm going to do something even worse than that. I'm going to make a public spectacle of you. I'm going to shame you and make you a oath. So every other woman and every other person in the community, because it's not just so you could be among your women. I'm going to make you a cursing and condemnation among your people. I'm about to embarrass you in front of everybody until the day you die. Okay. By making your private parts shrivel and your abdomen swell up. Let's deal with that. I looked at that word for swelling up. The abdomen, of course, is a place that's sacred. Okay. The abdomen is where the babies are. That's where they are. This the inside. It has walls, okay, of protection, right? So when the seed goes in, it goes into a place that's protected, right? So this word zav, and this is where our word for what we call Zavaoth, where Yared had mentioned, he called his name Yahweh Zavaoth, of Yahweh's armies, to be mustering up and to bring protection, because that's what Zavaoth means, army, wall, okay? That's what the tents of Israel were. They were walls of protection. Zavaoth means Yah is in charge of all these armies. He's mustering these people, and he's our protector, okay? And he's ready for war. He'll bring upon whoever he needs to in order for him to execute the judgment and the justice. So here, this in particular swelling has to do with the wall, okay? So the first part of this word here, azadi, okay? Wish this pen would cooperate. The zadi has to do with, and it's, I'm writing my finger, so forgive me. Oh, look at that. Tsade, zadi. Okay, I'm writing with my finger. My pen stopped working on this. Oh, here it is. Now it wants to work. Okay. Zadi. Zadi, that's the name of this letter. And it means a man on its side. Okay, man on side. Okay, that's what it means, a man on the side. This is, of course, the bet. And the bet represents what? It represents a house. Okay, and the house has which we call a tent. And a tent has what? Walls. Okay, so the side of the tent, the walls of the tent enclose what's inside. Like I've been telling you, the walls enclose everything, like the house. So the tent walls, they're going to stand firm and strong, and they're going to protect the inside from the outside elements. Very simple agricultural terms. It makes sense. You want to be inside the tent in order to protect you. So Yah is going to swell up this woman's abdomen. Okay. He's going to swell up this abdomen, right? And the reason why he's going to do this is not only so it can stand firm, but he's also going to do something when he does this. Okay. So if he's going to make her stomach swell, she's going to appear to be what?
Pregnant.
She's going to look like she's pregnant. You see? Check this out. But all of her private parts are going to shrivel. So what Yahweh is going to do is, listen carefully. When she drinks this water, that they have holy water, and they take the dust off the floor of the Mishkan, and he would tell her exactly what the curse was. And she said, Amen, Amen, meaning let it be stand firm and let it be true. Amen. Aleph, Mem, and a Nun. Okay. Which means they got amen. That's what she would say. She said it twice. And what it means is we learned that this has to do with the M and the Nun, which has to do with firm, which has to do with support, which has to do with being what? Sure. And also kind, the type of kind, this bringing one blood species to the next. So she said, let it be. Amen, amen. Let it be firm. Let it be true that what you're saying, if I have done this, right? When she says this, this seals and supports what the Kohen had said, which is a curse. If this happens, the water was going to go into her insides, inside of her belly. It was going to become bitter. But before he had her drink it, he would take that he wrote off with the dust, and he would put it in the water, mix it up, and have her, before she drank it, he would have her make that oath. She would have to swear to it. And then after she did, they said, Amen, Amen. And then what he would do is he would go and take the offering first to Yahweh, right? And lift it up. Now, when he lifted which was what? What's the offering? Grain. So what he would do is he would take a portion of that grain and he would lift it up before Yahweh and he would wave it before Yahweh. Okay. He would wave it. I looked at that word wave and it talked about, it's called naf. He would wave it. And to wave it means to what? Naso, meaning to lift it up. This is why it's connected to Naso, because you're supposed to lift this offering up and you're supposed to wave it before Yahweh. The reason why he's waving it is because it's the idea of putting it in a sieve. Okay, like you would put grain and you would shake it, and whatever's left in the sieve, then that which would be the seed and left in the sieve, and then all the other stuff out of it would fall out of it, right? So to shake it up. So basically what he's saying is, when I put this grain in the sieve, I'm separating that which is true from that which is not true. That's why he would bring that offering and wave it before Yahweh, because he's sieving it. He's sieving this offering before Yahweh to say, make a distinction and determination through this offering whether or not this woman is innocent or she's guilty. He would then do that and then would have her drink it. Okay. So back to the swelling. The swelling here is for the idea of destroying the environment, all right, internally, from her being able to ever bear a child. That's what he's doing. But he's going to give her a look of pregnancy so she can be an outward sign to the rest of the people. This is what happens when you go outside of your husband's authority and becoming a ma'al. And this is what happens when you're a sather. Okay. This is what happens when you are covert or you're treachery. This is what's going to happen. Okay. So that word right there, which we got right here, is zav. That's to stand the wall. But the word for swell, this is where swelling comes from, that word zav. Zavah is the actual name for the swelling. It's as the family grows, the tent is enlarged and is seen as swelling the tent. Okay. So what Yahweh is doing is he's going to destroy, listen to me, I'm going to destroy your inner ability to have children, but I'm going to make it look like you have children. You're going to always look like you're pregnant. So you're going to bear the consequences of your actions. The swelling is a reminder that instead of you growing the family, right, through pregnancy, you're nothing now but a mockery to the community. You see, now you're not going to be able to grow the family because you allow somebody else's seed to go inside of your tent. You allow someone else to enter into you. because that's what it says. It doesn't say just lay down. It means go inside. So when a woman allows another man inside of her, she's allowing him into her family. And now she's destroyed any possibility for there to be any continuing of the family, any other swelling. Okay. So as the family grows, the tent is enlarged and is seen as a swelling of the tent. And that's the reason why Yah has decided to use that judgment. Okay. He says, but if the woman is not unclean, but clean. Now here's the best part, that then she will be innocent. Okay. Innocent in Hebrew means kwana. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Wrong word. Na-kwa. Na-kwa is innocent. Kwa, na, is jealous. So you can see how Yah has reversed the letters. There's still the kwa, still the kwa, still the noon, and you still got these two when you got the hey on here. Okay. You understand? So Yah has reversed it. Listen what Yah has done. If someone is innocent, they're not kwa. They're innocent. Okay. She'll have children. If she's innocent, she'll nakwa. And she's free from all of her guilt. This is the Torah for jealousy. See, a lot of people don't understand that this is a Torah. This is the instruction. When either a wife under her husband's authority goes astray, means she turns away from her husband for whatever reason and becomes unclean, or the spirit of jealousy just comes over this husband and he becomes jealous of his wife. I told you there's a benefit of jealousy for a husband to be over his wife, because if the man has come to Yah just because he just felt this, okay, Yah can use this. Listen to me. According to what he's saying right here is, if a man is two reasons. If the woman goes astray, this is the law for it. He says, or the spirit, let me stop. Let me get my pen together, because I just be putting stuff over stuff. Gotta be careful. Or the spirit of Kwana, the Ruach of Kwana, comes over the husband. It doesn't have to be because she was being an adulterer. He could just simply have this, and he becomes jealous of his wife. Then he is to place the woman before Yahweh. Husbands, before you take matters into your own hands, you feel a certain way, you should be able to place, but we don't have a Kohen, right? But still in prayer, I would recommend that you would still bring your wife before Yahweh. You can do that. You could go before Yahweh and say, hey, I have this issue. Instead of you losing it and being in it full of a rage and have no one to go to, you can go before Yahweh. Okay. And the Kohen is to deal with her in accordance with all of this law. One little point I wanted to also bring out here again is the importance of the Kohen. The Kohen is the one who's going to execute all these matters and that which is prescribed according to what Yahweh's Torah is. He's not going to be able to do this on his own. All right. And he's important. This is why Yah says that the Kohen is the one, as Aki Yered had brought out, that the Kohen and his sons, Aaron's sons, are the ones who can put the blessings on the children of Israel, which is putting Yahweh's name on them, right? Because that's what the blessing is. He said, I think it's in chapter number 6, he says, you could put the blessings of my name on the children of Israel. So you got a whole bunch of people out here today that are not Aaron and his sons and have no way to verify, that are claiming to put Yahweh's name on people, which is invalid. It's invalid. No one has the right to put Yahweh's name on anybody. They're invalid. Just telling you the way it is. Don't buy the okie doke. Just accept it for what it is. Okay. So then it says the husband will be clear of guilt. Because what? Because Yah doesn't want a man walking around in rage. Okay. So this innocence is going to be the result either way. Okay. Either the man is going to be, the woman's going to be innocent, right? And then if the woman is guilty, then the man is innocent. That's how Yah worked it out. But the wife will bear the consequences of her guilt if she's guilty. This is what it is. So again, we find that Yah is telling us that no one's getting away with anything. You're going to bear the consequences. That's what it is. That's what you're going to bear. If you think that you're going to do something secretly as Safar, and you believe that you can actively do it, and you also believe that it's something that Yah has forgotten, Yah has never forgotten anything. He hasn't forgotten the actions of our ancestors. He hasn't forgotten what the things that we've said. He hasn't forgotten any of those things. Okay. That word that I mentioned, innocence, naqwa, okay, it says this: to be empty and clean, okay, to be avenged. Yah's way of avenging a woman for the accusation of her doing this. That's a very strong accusation. She needs to be avenged, and Yah's reward for her is to give her a child. See the difference? If you win against me, I'm going to destroy your opportunity to have children, and I'm going to publicly embarrass you until the day you die. If you've been faithful to me, I will then release you from will make you innocent. You will be naqwa. If the husband is jealous for his wife and he's jealous of her, there's a reason. It's not just because of some other man. It could be anything. But what Yah does is, if you notice, he brings the husband and the wife back together, because Yahweh hates divorce. He hates separation. He uses this occasion because men are weird. I just got to tell it to you. We're weird. We be tripping. So in our weirdness, like how we be tripping sometimes, Yah says, oh, you're mad at your wife? Yeah, I'm angry. He says, okay, well, how did she end up having a child? If she's not guilty, what all of a sudden now, how do you think the conversation was when he brought her, and he brought her there? Okay. If she's guilty, she knows it's over. If she's not guilty, she's like, come on, let's go. You gonna bring me through this? You gonna set me before Yahweh? See? So that's the power that a husband has. He can actually take his wife down to before Yahweh and says, listen, I think I have the spirit of me in this woman, right? But Yah is the one who will allow that spirit to come upon a man, because ultimately Yah wants to he's going to bring justice, to have someone to be avenged and be acquitted so they can be completely innocent free of any punishment. And then what he's going to do is he's going to reward the woman with the child because of the accusation. So the man and woman ultimately have to come back together because she's been found to be naqwa. She doesn't be able to hold a grudge. She should be thankful that the man was jealous. It works to her benefit either way. I hope you can see that. You see, if she's guilty, she's not going to die. She's just going to be shamed. Because what Yah says, what you've done, listen, what you've done secretly, I'm going to open it up publicly. And that's what Yah's been telling us over the last couple of weeks for us as Israel. You guys have been doing things, and he's talking to us. You guys have been doing things to me, right? Secretly, right? Having your gods. Remember, he brought Ezekiel and he said, hey, look what they're doing. They were worshiping other gods and didn't think Yahweh knew it. They were being unfaithful to Yah. But in order to be naqwa and to be free and clean and avenged and acquitted and to be made innocent, you have to go through that process. And Yah's letting us know that that's what it is. That's what this is about. So this is the part of the Torah portion I wanted to share with you today. I'm open for any statements, questions, contributions, actions, anything. Yes, Azania.
Great lesson, great lesson. Shabbat Shalom, brother, if I haven't said it earlier. It's so funny because when I was reading that Torah portion and about, going before the high priest, the Kohen, and the various, drinking the water and seeing if her belly swelled. It's so funny. It's because I had actually seen that. It was on TV, of course, and it relates back to what I said to you in Jeremiah 17:4 earlier, where the Most High says, and even you yourself shall let go of your heritage, which I gave you, and I will cause you to serve your enemies in a land which you do not know, for you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. They had a Catholic priest doing this
Yes.
or a king that suspected his wife of being, sleeping. So they sent her to the Catholic priest, and the Catholic priest performed this ceremony. In fact, he couldn't even get through it because the thought of the king's daughter, this white woman, being unclean was just unfathomable, and he couldn't even get through it, right? The thought of her being a whore. But anyway, it just brought back, when I was reading the Torah portion this week, about how much of our heritage we've lost. We haven't just lost our heritage. It's very sad and almost makes me cry when I think about it. The Most High has given it.
Did we lose you, Okoti? She's on the East Coast. We lost her.
To take it and pervert it and to give it back to us with, gods of wood and stone. He's allowed them to do all these things based on his anger with him. And back to what you were saying in the first, like in the beginning when you opened up, you have always talked, since I've started following your post on Facebook, I guess over a year ago, maybe longer, about how the Most High not being with us. As a person that's had real interaction with him through prayer and even visions, I do find that he's with us, but most of the time I find myself constantly begging the Most High for mercy. When you get close to the Most High, you do feel his great rage at our ancestors. And our fathers. It says in Leviticus 26, we're not only pining away in our iniquity, but our fathers' iniquities are on us, and he is not forgotten. And so it's a long way back once you strayed, and it's even to the point where certain people claim that there's parts of our heritage that we should not do.
Come back in. I guess we lost Azania again.
And that we have to respect our ancestors' great betrayal and approach the Most High very cautiously and humbly. Yeah. Very true. All praises.
All praises to Yahweh. Thank you so much for that contribution. Yeah, great point. When I speak of, just to be clear, when I speak of Yah not being with us, what I'm saying is his Mishkan, his tabernacle. And in terms of him, all the different occasions where he says Yah was with us, and then there's examples where he says he's not with you, right? And the times that he wasn't with them is when they were not able to defeat their enemies. So when we talk about Yah being with us, there's that level of that him being in our presence. In the beginning of our Torah portion, he had said, and I think it's in chapter number 5 and verse number 3, he says that I live among the children of Israel. I live among the children of Israel. And in context, meaning in the land, right? But also too, when they were in the wilderness, he was living with them, right? So he lives with them when they're together, right? When they're together, right? He lives with them. And so, when he's Yahweh Zavaoth, he has different titles that he uses. He uses Yahweh Zavaoth, meaning I'm Yahweh of heaven's armies. I'm in charge of all the armies. And that title lets us know that he's preparing for war. And that's the name that he uses to let us know that I'm bringing some force. So like I said, I don't want to discourage anyone. I'm talking about how when it comes to us being defeated by our enemies, Yah's not with us. When it comes to us in our land and inheritance of our land and Yahweh blessing the land, he's not with us. When it talks about I've hidden my face from you, that's either yes or no. That's how clear cut this language is And it tells you straight up, like, I'm not with you, because if I am with you, then everybody would know it. So and I talk about you. Now, check this out. When he talks about you, it's plurality, like the community as a nation. And so in terms of Yah being with us and his mercy and his grace and his compassion, all those things are available to us. And he has reached out, because it does say in the book of Hosea that the whore wife that he did have, he says, I'm going to woo you back to me. So Yah is wooing us, he's wooing us back and saying, hey, you guys have been doing this, but now that you've decided to change your behavior, now I'm going to woo you back to myself. Now I'm going to woo you, I'm going to talk to you, but it doesn't mean me and you are intimate. It doesn't mean me and we're not intimate. There's no altar. So when Yah says that you're the only family that I know intimately, have known, Yah is literally talking about us being close like a husband is with your wife. So Yah's not with us. He's not into us like that. Not right now. You see, so that intimacy that we had with Yahweh as our husband and our provider is not there. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So a wife that's outside of her house and her husband has burned down the house because she was doing things in front of him. He burned it completely to the ground. The house has to be rebuilt. Okay. Then she's set apart and she's secluded. She's in seclusion. And as we read in Hosea, he says what? He tells us this. And this is just the point I think I was just trying to make for everyone. So we can just, not that we could, get discouraged about our relationship with the Creator, but we'll be honest in our assessment of what our situation is, right? So in our honesty and in our way of thinking, Yah tells us this, and I want to share this with us right now so we can kind of get a better idea of why I keep saying what I'm saying. Because I'm talking about that high level of closeness, that level of, hey, me and you are together again. You don't have to be afraid anymore. I'm with you. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, that's well said. Chapter number 3. All right. So here it is. This is what it says. Yahweh said to me, go once more and show love to this wife of yours who has been loved by her boyfriend. Okay. This adulteress. Okay. God's using him as an example, what he's going to do with the house of Israel. He said, just as Yahweh loves the people of Israel, the people of Israel are nothing but an adulteress to Yahweh. And though they turn to other gods and love the raisin cakes offered to them. So I brought her back for myself with 15 pieces of silver and 8 bushels of barley. Do you see the barley? Then I told her, what did I tell this woman when I brought her back? What is y'all going to tell Israel? What did I tell her? I told you are to remain in seclusion for a long time, and be mine. You are not to be a prostitute. You are not to be with any other man. I won't come in to have sex with you either. I'm talking about Yah's not with us. He's not with us. He's not intimate with us. You understand? And then he's going to lay out where the sex happens. Okay, the idea of intimacy, this yada here, this closeness, this korev, because korev means to draw near. Okay, called karbanoth, to bring gifts, because your gifts are from this Hebrew word called karbanoth, and karav means to draw near, just like a man and woman come together. Okay, so they draw near to each other. They start getting excited, right? Yah says, for the people are going to be in seclusion. So he told you that this woman is the people in seclusion for a long time. Without a king, there is no intimacy with you and me. Okay, they're going to be with a prince, a nasi. There is no sar. There's no leader. There's no one to direct the people's heads. Okay, there's no sacrifice. That's a karbanoth. They're not bringing any contributions to me. Where? On the altar. What's the altar? The altar is Yahweh's bed in his house. You see? There's no standing stone and there's no ritual vest. You guys are not gonna have any household gods or nothing. Meaning you're not calling the name of anybody. Afterwards, after what? This long seclusion, the people of Israel will repent. They're going to shuv and they're going to darash. They're going to seek an answer. Yahweh, their Elohim, and David, their king. They will come trembling to Yahweh and his goodness in the Akareth Hamayim. That means in the time to come in the last days. Okay. So again, this is what Yah's talking about. This adulterous type of life. And then when Yah brings us back, then we're going to start multiplying, because that's part of the formula. Anytime we're with Yah, there's this increase of children. There's an increase of the family that he even tells us in the book of Isaiah. He tells Jerusalem, extend your tent, extend your tent cords, because the family is going to grow. My sons and my daughters. So what is he talking about? I'm about to plant. Listen to me. He's using agricultural terms. I'm about to plant my seed back in my land, my woman. You understand? So it's all this metaphoric language, but Yah gives us family so we can understand, what does it mean? What is he saying to us? Where do you believe sexual behavior comes from? It comes from Yah. And he's designed it to keep people together. He's designed it in order to continue to grow the family. He's designed it so there can be intimacy as a picture between him and his people. So if you and I are going to be unfaithful, and we're going to be liars, and we're going to be deceivers, and we're going to withhold information, and we're going to go behind Yah's back, and we're going to serve other gods, he says there's coming a day when I'm going to find out whether or not you were faithful to me. Because I'm still angry, as we read in Deuteronomy chapter number 32. I'm mad. I still have the spirit of jealousy on me as we speak, but I'm going to bring you before me now, okay? And we're going to you're not going to be able to drink any water, okay? You're not. I'm going to bring it. I'm bringing fire in my jealousy. So if you and I are ready and we're prepared, then, of course, we'll be set free. You see, that's what it is. So there's all those examples. Hallelujah. Anyone else? Well, shalom to you.
Can you hear me?